Okay, guys, so now you won't see me in this video because I'm realizing that my little face is blocking some of the slides, so I don't want to block anything that I have written on these slides. So now that you've brainstormed, you've gotten approved by your teacher to move forward, now you're ready. You have a thesis, so yay! This is the central idea of your essay. Your thesis statement is your central idea. That's what they call a central idea of your essay. From here, every body paragraph and example should tie in with your thesis. So everything that you write should all go back to your central idea. If your body paragraphs don't go with your thesis, you know you're off track. So, how are you going to hook your reader? That's the next question. You've got a thesis statement, but you can't just throw your thesis statement out in front of your reader and just say, hey, accept what I have to say. You're going to need to write a hook. So that's going to be the next part of your assignment. The hook is going to be there's a couple of different ways that you can write a hook. So let's take a look. The first way that you can write a hook is to use an anecdote. This part of your paper is so important. Forgot to say this. Don't feel bad if this takes you some time. So if writing an anecdote takes you some time, or writing the next an analogy and comparison, or writing facts and statistics, if this takes you some time to think about, don't feel bad that it's taking you time to think about. It's totally normal. This introduction is crucial to your paper. So if you want to start your paper off with an anecdote is introducing your essay with a brief narrative drawn from current views, events, history, or your personal experience. It can be an effective way to capture your reader's interest. So an example of that might be, like for this essay, could be 2 9-year-old boys who were neighbors were walking home from school. The one in the bright blue windbreaker was laughing and swinging a heavy-looking bag toward the head of his neighbor, who kept ducking and stepping back. "What's the matter?" asked the kid with the bag, whooshing it over his head. "You chicken?" And then you could go into your thesis statement. Maybe the boy does something that's correct instead of doing what's popular. Maybe he goes and finds a teacher if they're walking home and they're just walking off to school. You can explain it further in your essay if you'd like. This is not the best example to use. You can use another anecdote, but you could start your essay off with a story, a little mini tiny story, just to get your reader's attention. So that's what an anecdote is. And I'm going to say this is probably more for my story writers, people that like to write stories. You probably like an anecdote because you can even use some dialogue in here. Look how short it is, though. It's not a full story. It's tiny, and it's only to get your reader's attention and then go into your thesis statement. Another way you could do it is using an analogy and comparison. An analogy or a comparison can be useful in getting readers to contemplate a topic they might otherwise reject as unfamiliar or uninteresting. So this goes back to that paper that we looked at in class, and it's in the gallery walk. If you haven't seen it yet, you'll see it. But this student compares goal setting to a GPS system, and it says something like this. Setting goals is like using a GPS system. A GPS system tells you where you are going and how to get there. Setting goals is a way to help you stay on track and get to the places you want to be in life. And I had a little typo there too. I apologize for that. But that's a really good way to introduce your reader to where you're going. If you guys can think of an analogy and comparison for this prompt, explaining why the decision to do what is correct is better than doing what is popular, you can make a comparison to something else, then use it. Okay, so just think about that. Is there anything else you can compare this to? Explaining why the decision to do what is correct is better than doing what is popular. Okay. All right, and the last thing that you could do So you have an anecdote, you have an analogy and comparison option. The last thing you could do is you could use facts and statistics to start your paper off with. For the most part, you should use facts and statistics to support your argument rather than let them speak for you, but presenting brief and startling facts or statistics can be an effective way to engage readers in your essay. So, an example of this is millions of children are bullied each day. 1 in 5 kids report being bullied at some point in their middle school years. Doing what is correct instead of what is popular can result in changing someone's day for the better, saving a life, or can even lead to changing the world, bringing us one step closer to a beautiful place to live in. That was written by yours truly, and I was just playing around with facts and statistics. To be really honest with you guys, I'm not even sure if that fact or statistic is correct. I know it's really close to being correct. You can even fact check me on that if you want to. I'm sure it's close that millions of children, I'm sure it's millions, I'm sure, are bullied each day. Just with the population, I'm sure it's millions. And I'm not sure if it's 1 in 5 kids report being bullied at some point, but I'm sure I'm pretty close to the real statistic. This is where you guys have to be a little creative. If you've read something, if you've read a statistic that you know of, but you're not exactly sure if it's 100% accurate, you can use it on your STAR test. They know that you don't have sources or the means to go look up this information. They know you don't have a Chromebook. They know you don't have Google in front of you. So they know where you're coming from. But the fact that you try to use a fact or statistic that is close, like you can't be extremely off on this, but you're trying to use a statistic that is close to what it really is, they're going to give you credit for that. And it really gives your reader, it catches their interest really quickly. So this is a great way to hook your reader in. So now I want you to practice writing a hook and end it with your thesis. Do this on the second page of your document. So you're still in the same document, you're just going to the second page. This is your first paragraph of your essay. Remember, mine is this, the one I just read you. Millions of children are bullied each day. 1 in 5 kids report being bullied at some point in their middle school years. Doing what is correct instead of what is popular can result in changing someone's day for the better, saving a life, or can even lead to changing the world, bringing us one step closer to a beautiful place to live in. So now I want you to stop. Once I go to the next screen, you're going to stop. You cannot move on until you show your teacher you have a hook and a thesis. They're looking for a hook and a thesis. So here is the prompt. Rewatch the video if you need to watch it again to understand what an anecdote is, what an analogy and comparison is, or how to use facts to start your paper. So if you need to rewatch this video, go ahead and do so now. You'll need your intro written before you can move on. All right, guys, I will talk to you soon on the next video. Get to work.